Oh, it's on like Donkey Kong. Alright, let's swap scenes. G'day, g'day. It's 6:30 in the morning here. Let me just turn this volume down a little bit. It's a little loud. So I can actually hear that. Turn you guys up so you can still hear some music. And let's just do a quick audio check. Make sure everyone can hear me. All right. Hear. Sounds good. All right. G'day, g'day. How you going? What do you know in Strike alike? Today we're going to be mucking around more with Selenium. I've decided that we're just going to rip the band-aid off today, and we are going to put the HTML. We're going to supercharge the PowerShell Selenium module and insert the HTMLAgilityPack. So effectively, last week we mucked around with it a little bit here, where we could basically start introducing commandlets that use the HTMLAgilityPack's ability to be able to traverse HTML structure and be able to actually return XPath elements based on that, and then we obviously can pass that back into Selenium for our automation goodness. So essentially what it allows us to do is, while Selenium is kind of designed for testing, it's going to also now be able to actually do some really, really interesting automation and really enhance that side of the module. So the HTMLAgilityPack offers a lot in terms of being able to actually provide a structured, essentially a structured, what's the best way to describe it? A structured a way of querying HTML data without having to go hunting through static text. So if you're not familiar with the HTMLAgilityPack, what it does is it formats HTML text into .NET object structures. One of the key advantages that it also provides is that you can actually query the language, or you can query the object. As well as that, you can also see the child elements as well as the parent elements. So it gives you a top-down or a bottom-up approach when it comes to web automation. So it's pretty cool. And yeah, I hope you guys stick around. It should be a fairly easy stream. I haven't had a really big look at the code yet, but I expect there's not going to be too much issues with trying to integrate these two together. So one of the things we did was I kind of just added the HTMLAgilityPack DLL, and then basically you can pass the driver into the page source from the driver into the document. So one of the things that we're going to need to do is, there's a couple of things here, is we need to be able to insert that, but also it needs to be able to automatically refresh when there's a driver update, aka when there's a new HTML elements being passed, or that there's new HTML being returned to the browser. So that's one of the things. Sorry, that's one of the things that we need to do today. And then from on that, we're pretty much smooth sailing, because once we've got that kind of core elements inserted into the module, then it's just going to be adding those more advanced features, which is basically just embedding them into existing commandlets and be able to actually use that. So that is what we're going to try and do today. I use the word try because we will try and see if we can do this. So let's go ahead and clone this. Actually, I'm going to fork this. So I can actually just start creating my own branch structure, because there's a few bits and pieces that I would like to do. So first things first, we're gonna change to git clone. Hopefully, it's going to clone in a subdirectory. I think it should. We'll just wait for it to clone and then we'll go from there. Oh, it's 100 meg. Oh no, it's 3 meg. It's not the end. Was that 3 meg? No, that's object count. Okay. Okay, cool. All right, let's just have a quick squeeze. Yep, there it is there. Cool. All right, let's go ahead and open that directory. And we can go and have a look. Selenium PowerShell, open that up. Yeah, I trust these guys. Hopefully they don't do anything too sus. And let's go ahead and have a look at what we got in here. So I'm not really interested in the updater because that looks like it's just downloading drivers, which doesn't particularly interest me. What we're going to look for is how is the commandlet's being used. Alrighty. Internal. Okay, so we're just going to use the Firefox driver for the time being. So, okay, so it's. This is interesting. What is that? Default download path. So you can target that, okay. That's new SE driver service, browser Firefox. So it creates a new service. If there's no driver, implicit wait. So it's a custom driver type, OpenQA Selenium Firefox driver. Okay, let's have a look at that. Where is that being added? How is this being added? I have a sneaky suspicion it's probably being added in the PSD file. As you can see, essentially the PSM1 file compiles, I'll say compiles, it basically just interpolates all the functions into the one file. The interesting thing is just how is it's actually loading it. Is there a PSD here? Yeah, let's go have a look in here. Selenium types, where's types? Selenium Firefox. So where's this type being added? That's the question. I need to know where that type is. Like that type obviously needs to be loaded somewhere. Where's it being loaded? I'm just going to search Firefox driver. Firefox. Here we go. The question is that can it be changed, or am I going to have to create two objects side by side? I don't really want to. I could create a class. If it's not something that's defined by Selenium, we could create a class that basically essentially inherits the HTML driver properties, which that would work, but I probably will go down that path. But we need to have a look at the class first and how much how much changes would it require. Um, okay, let's have a look. Status is dropping Firefox. Um, let's just have a look at ad type. Here we go. What's this? Now this is interesting. Why is it? So using OpenQA, Selenium support namespace classes option. Reference assemblies DLL1, DLL2. I've never seen an enum inside of PowerShell. I'm just gonna have a quick squiz at how it sits. Enum PowerShell statement. So a quick look at the enum. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Where is the statement? What's its name? Okay, so it's adding the WebDriver DLLs there. Um, hmm. Look, I don't really want to do an ad type, but I can understand why you're. I'd rather write it in a CS file and then just basically ad type it that way, rather than having it embedded in Selenium classes. I've never seen an enum statement in PowerShell. G'day, Shane. How you going, mate? Mate, DBA Live. How's that going? Uh, Here's a question for you, Shane. Have you ever seen an enum statement in PowerShell? I've never seen that. I've never used enums. And one of the really cool things you can do with enums is create new enums. Okay. Original enum. Yep, fruit. Now I decided to create more fruit, so I call my new enum more fruit. Okay. Capapple. Capapple. Oh man. Okay. I've just never seen enums. As for DBA life, I'm on call till midnight. Ugh. Hope no one does any drop. You should just. It's Friday night. There's always a change freeze Friday night. You know, you never make changes in production on Friday night. Oh, that was one of the things that we were doing in software development. And one of the guys were like, "All right, I came with the idea." I'm like, "Guys, we are not doing pushes in production on a Friday night. That ain't happening. Tuesday morning, that's when we're doing it." And he's like, and everyone's like, no, yep, that sounds good. No problem with that. Like, sweet. If the business had their way, they would be basically arguing Friday night because that's, oh, sorry, Saturday because no one's using the service. And I'm thinking, mate, nowadays we've got technologies to be able to actually dynamically scale, and we've got deployment slots and drains and all these wonderful tools, which means that we always should be continuously integrating it, continuously delivering our product without any worry. We've obviously made a rookie mistake. Oh, mate, hasn't everybody made a rookie mistake? Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. All right. All right. So that's one thing I'm gonna just quickly. So I'm just gonna write some to-dos in here so I know where to come back and update stuff because I'm gonna need to add bits and pieces to these nitty nums here. Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Let's go ahead. Create a branch. And where's my GitLabs? Let's go ahead and create a branch. Yes. Close. What? I have Git installed. GitLabs. Branch. Let's just call this add HTML agility pack. Sure in that. Oh yeah. All right. All right. All right. Okay. Cool. So I just need to add a quick to do add text into here. I'm not doing it yet because I just want to I want to do this in order because if I start going around making changes everywhere and then I'm not thinking about what I need to do, I'm probably going to make a massive mistake and then it's going to be a pain in the butt to refactor or fix. So this is a bit of a pain because this could totally be updated so that that literally checks and throws warnings when the module starts. Anyway, so there's a couple of challenges that we need to do. So adding the driver, how are we going to integrate the driver? Hmm. Hmm. To do this. Because the thing is, like if we go back to the driver, this is where we're going to kind of need to go back and work my way from the ground up. So, internal. So if we just use the Firefox driver, it creates OpenQA Selenium Firefox driver. I Where is that being added? Service. New SE driver service. Browser Firefox. No, it's not a service. How is it adding this type and where is this type? I think that type. Let's just have a look at the PSM1 file and see how it's loading it. Yeah, initialize, get SE driver, stop SE driver, new condition, get rid of that, new condition, yeah, get rid of that. SE keys. Interesting. What I'm trying to look for is where it's actually loading the drivers. Where's this type being added? When's this type being added? Is it being added in the PSM1 file? Or is it being added in the PSD file? Well, I don't think it's being added in here. The only one place it's being is that add type is here, which I have a sneaking suspicion this is how it's adding it. You've got these extensions. MS core library, and then it adds its enums. This is where I think it's being added in here. So it's when it loads the web drivers, the DLLs from here. That's where it's adding it. This is going to make it interesting because as the page changes, you would want the HTML source to be updated as well. Now, ideally, it would have been better so that as the page changes with the DLL, it gets reflected in the HTMLAgilityPack. And I still believe that. I think that this is probably our best bet. We're going to probably need to go to the WebDriver and have a look at that and see if this is a Who's actually provided that? Have a look at the assemblies. I think it's who's actually provided this. .NET Peak. No, I don't have .NET Peak. Time to install .NET Peak. The reason why I want to install .NET Peak, I actually want to have a look in the code and see if it's something that, if I can confirm that it's within there. So .NET Peak is a really, really cool decompiler for C Sharp, because essentially C Sharp can be decompiled. It allows us to be able to have a little look inside of the deal and try and understand what's happening there. Not the best way to do it. We don't need any of that. We just want peak. Yeah, I don't really have Visual Studio. I just want. I promise I'm not doing it for illegal stuff. I just want to have a look at it. I use it all the time. If there's something, so there's one of the times that I like to use it is occasionally someone compiles a PowerShell PS1 as a executable. Now, most of the time, PowerShell PS1 compiled using massive air quotes essentially is a loosely. It's essentially either an embedded PS1 within the C Sharp application, or it's a PS1 file that gets extracted and then executed. Very rarely does it do a type conversion and actually compile, because you're trying to compile from a non-type specific to a type specific language, which is easier said than done. So let's go .NET Peak. Where is it? Peak. So you fire this bad boy up and go and have a look at what's under the hood. Now, I have a suspicion that this is Selenium's code, which means I'm not going to modify that, but I just need to confirm that's the case. So, yep. I'm not going to do it for illegal stuff. I'm just needing to have a look to see what's in there. Yep. Okay, let's go ahead and have a look. Adding all our assemblies. I'll go ahead and load it. Select that folder. Start decompiling. Alright, so the first thing we want to have a look at is the WebDriver here. So, okay, interestingly, Newton's OpenQA Selenium Firefox. That's it there. So let's have a quick look to the declaration. Can we go to the implementation? No, okay. Where is, okay, so it's the Firefox driver. Let's go, let's see if come on. Alright, so, remote web driver. That's what I thought. Well, this is going to present a challenge because, okay, so there's two options that we can do here. I didn't want to have to do this because ultimately I wanted just to be able to. I was hoping that there was a class that they called, which was essentially a wrapper class, which could be used to actually interface with, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. Uh, and you could actually call the method and it would actually manage that. Now, it doesn't look like that's happening, and the reasoning why obviously is because it's using the actual DLL, which is perfectly fine. That's what you would suppose that, that's what you're going to use. Um, but the thing that gets me is that as the page changes, it needs to update the HTML agility pack. I don't know how to do that. Short of having a process, effectively an event, because there's no event or anything that you could subscribe to within here that I can see. Because we create the driver. Is there any events? I don't think there's any events. It does inherit the remote web driver. What's that? Now, hypothetically, um, I could republish this, but probably not the best idea. And they're not going to accept that in a in a pull request. So the only way that we can really manage the source is to update the driver when we called um, when we actually run. I think you could actually have it bound to every commandlet so that essentially or prior to any execution on the just don't like that. It's just too complicated. I'm like at the end of the day, I want to be able to introduce it in a way that it's super simple. Um, this is now, so it obviously adds the WebDriver and the WebDriver support DLL. Um, public class option, Selenium section. I'm going to have a look at this. Hmm. Add this to like all. Selenium section option, deselect all element. Hmm. Retrieves the current user URL of a target WebDriver instance. Retrieves the current or currently stored internal location stack. Interesting. But how's it actually getting the driver? Init SE driver. Hmm. Well, this is very interesting. Um, hmm. How can I integrate this into it? Hmm. How can I get to this? Because um, that's the URL. Returns the current URL WebDriver. Okay, so it gets the driver. So I'm wondering whether I can think of that as an argument compiler. Think of that argument compiler can be an enum. Okay. So my idea here, so we can get the URL. What else that we can get? I'm pretty sure we can change the URL. Pop. Navigate to the most recently pushed URL on the location stack. Okay, cool. USE window. What else we've got here? That. Let's have a look at set. I could update it in here. So as the URL changes, then the driver updates the HTML agility pack. So if we go in knit, just want to see how it's doing this. Driver is null. Also, if driver, if it's not, if there's an element not there. Let's see, driver. We just refresh it inside a get SC driver. Basically, when the driver gets returned, it just refreshes the HTML agility pack. That's probably the best place to do it. And then I can also introduce a commandlet which will refresh it. It's just, it sucks because the way that I really wanted to do it was that as the page source changed within the WebDriver, it would actually update it there. So it would repass it there. So it means that if there's any change to the code, it doesn't matter, if there's a JavaScript's being executed or anything like that, and new elements are being created or being removed, that it would automatically update the HTML agility pack in the background without having to do this, because it meant that you had a known good piece of configure, or you had a known good piece of text, a known good object that you can actually work with, and it's current. This way, it's not technically current because the WebDriver is still authoritative in that sense, but it doesn't have the ability to dynamically update it without having to effectively create a some sort of events, which obviously the driver doesn't have. So you're effectively kind of limited to having some sort of timer, I think. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So it's using script SE drivers as its as a kind of a global store. No, let's have a look at that. So it's a PS object. Script SE drivers current equals null. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of creating or embedding the HTML agility pack into this, um, into that variable. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to create a new one here. It just needs to be, I'm going to need to write some interesting stuff. So the reason why HTMLAgilityPack pack, So then what we'll need to do is load the HTMLAgilityPack. Where's DLL1, DLL2, that's it there. DLL3 path. What you literally do is just grab that. What we can do here is I will install the HTMLAgilityPack into it. To do that, we need to just go and grab the DLL. Now, which was the one I used? Because this is the other thing, is that we could save all that. Non-git code, Selenium. What did I use? 4.5. And then what we can do here is go to assemblies, reveal an explorer. Needs to be a an SH256. How is that stored? Just have a quick look at that file. Open with. Okay, so it's just a 256 hash of that. So what we can do is just create. So I'm just creating a 256 hash. Actually, I can do it in here. So I can go ahead and create a new file. Call it okay 256. And what we can do is get file hash path. Just give it the path. Perfect. So now we can just go ahead and copy that. Paste that there. That adds the 256 driver. I think I'm going to need to insert a .NET Core ones and things like that as well. But we will see. We will see. We will see. We'll try it. If it doesn't, we'll try it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't, and we'll go from there. Okay. So the next thing what you need to do is so we got our HTMLAgilityPack. We can just go ahead and add that. Not like that. Just rename the file. Yeah, that adds our HTMLAgilityPack into the item. Now, how does this get compiled? One thing I want to see is how does it get built? Here's the builder. Pass clean. Scripts output folder. Alright, well I think the first thing I need to do is clean it. Pass clean, build, test, update, help, export, help, stats. Test, import, compiled module, pester, tasks. Okay. Okay. Alright, I think first things first, we need to clean this up. So, is it? Hang on, 2 seconds. I'm just going to quickly go AFK for 2 seconds. Alrighty. So, um, oh yeah, I got an AFK screen. um, yeah. So the next thing is, what are we gonna do here? So if we've loaded that, so I'll make sure that I'm adding, which path is this at? Okay, that's fine. So the next thing that we're going to need to do is that when a new driver is created, we need to load the page source. How are we going to do that? I'm not sure yet, but we'll give it a go. So what we're going to do... Oh, Michael. No. Bad, Michael. You put it in the wrong spot. We don't want that in there. So what we need to do... Init... Oh, gosh, I'm itchy. Okay. Pop it in here. All right. So once we've done that, register argument completer. Start SE driver. All right, let's go and have a looky-loo in start SE driver. Okay, it's not there. Let's have a look in top level. Actually, I'm going to get rid of the output here because it's going to muddle me up. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to bin it all. I can always undo that and replace it. That's fine. I just don't really want it there. Okay. So that's clean, which is good. So now if I have a quick look at function, here we go. Start SE drive. All right, now we're cooking with gas. So start URL. SE prefix used to avoid clash with anything from the Selenium in the future. Oh, really? Really? Session ID, script property to avoid performance cost of checking a closed session. Hmm. Well, I don't need to have the HTMLAgilityPack if it's doing that. Alright, let's have a quick look. Okay, I'm going to open VS Code again. Just going to have a quick looky-loo in Selenium. What we're going to do is just quickly jump over to muck around. This is just basically going to fire up Edge, do a PowerShell lookup. So if we have a look at the driver, I shouldn't have done that. I should have just done a get member. That doesn't look like there's anything there. So where are these properties? Because if you look at this code, input object driver, member type node property. It's high level. But I actually want that to be embedded in the driver. Okay. This is what I really want to do. So ideally, we've got our driver here. What I want to be able to do is effectively I thought it was type definition. Add type. Oh no, it's add member. Dirt. Member type. No property. Name. It's going to call it HTMLAgilityPack. Value, and we're just going to basically say the value of that will be this, which will actually add. Now, whether this works or not is another thing. So effectively, I'm just going to quickly load that. Oops, load that, and then now if we have a look at the driver, we've got the HTMLAgilityPack. Is that still technically? It's still a Chrome driver. I probably could just tack it on that way. That ain't good. That should have loaded the driver's crashed. Let's try that again. So the driver's running. And now if we have a look at that, you've still got all that. We've got GM. You can see we've got our HTMLAgilityPack. Let's see if it actually works this time. No. Does it have a page source? I think the driver's just crashed again. Does it keep crashing? You can see it's open. I'm just going to leave it there on my other screen so I can see what's going on. And then if I try and add a driver's still running, still there. Oops. Okay, that works. So why don't it just be document load HTML driver.pageSource. Doesn't work. It doesn't like complex object types. So that ain't gonna work. Ideally, I wanted to be able to have it tacked into the actual driver. Now, the only way I can possibly do that is to rewrite the driver. Yeah. Not sure how I feel about that at the moment. Mainly because rewriting the driver is quite extensive. But it does offer the ability to be able to actually insert it directly into the driver. And having it in the driver is better. Mainly because then the user can actually query it. So it's not a separate entity, it's embedded into the solution already, which is better. Man, it just got really dark. So open that window. Hopefully the light changes. There we go. So, yeah, that's going to make it tough. I think what I can possibly do I'd be interested to see if I can wrap it. So build a class and effectively embed it. Okay. There could be a separate way we can do this without embedding it in the driver. Prefer to do that, but, well, yeah. Another method we could possibly do here is to effectively sit it out on its own. Don't embed it into it, and then basically require it to be called. So if you want the HTMLAgilityPack object, you would call XYZ. You would call, get SE HTMLAgilityPack, something like that, and that would return the AgilityPack object. It's not the best way of doing it because ultimately, I don't particularly think that it's a great methodology because I really want it to be embedded natively into the module. But having that approach means that there's less changes and it's more of an add-on into it. So it means that we could approach it from an add-on perspective. I think that's probably going to be the way that we're going to go and do it. Sorry, I've just got a cold. Okay, so if that's the case, what we're going to do, what are we going to do? So I think we're going to still need the HTML agility pack. And then effectively, when the driver is loaded in start SE driver, it loads the HTML agility pack. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be the way that we're going to do it. What do you guys think? I'm interested to hear your opinion. Is this the right way I'm doing it? Is there's a better way of doing it? Ultimately, ideally, I would like to have it in a DLL, but I don't think that's going to be possible here. Okay. Well, we can go down this approach anyway, and if we can, if we need to refactor in the future, we can. So at least let's just make a start. So, all right. So let's agility pack. First things first. We've loaded the agility pack in. How is it actually loading the classes? Is the classes getting past? How's the classes getting loaded? Okay, so it runs scripts to process, so it loads the classes. It requires the assemblies. I'm going to include the HTML agility pack. And now I'm just trying to remember where I put it. There it is. Okay. I haven't had breakfast this morning, and I'm slow. All right, so we can just do that. Say under assemblies, we'll just add that. So that will load all the goodies from there. Okay, cool. All right, so the next thing that we need to do is do we just load the document now? Which, to be honest, there's no reason why not to. So might as well just go and load the HTML agility pack now. See, get rid of that. Where's my second VS Code? We can go ahead. Document. So that goes ahead and loads the document. That's it. It's not going to do anything else. It's just going to load that in. So once that's loaded in, the next thing it needs to do is pass the page source. So what we want to do here, Let's create a new internal function called init HTMLAgilityPack. Function advanced. How are they structuring their init SE driver? Init HTMLAgilityPack. I'm just making sure I'm keeping the same structure. Well, they've got an init SE driver which is using a element. So I think the first thing that we need to do we need to call init SE driver, so let's go ahead and do that. Anything there? No. We don't really need anything there. We can just go ahead and do that. Just yeah, we can just pass that straight in. And then what we can do here, we can name it pass the page source. So this is where we can go script. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new one and I'm going to call this refresh. Gonna effectively chuck that in there. And you can basically pass the driver in and that will refresh the HTMLAgilityPack. Should I call it SE HTMLAgilityPack or should I call it just HTMLAgilityPack? Because I'm thinking it's just SE to kind of because it's the prefix. But it's really not Selenium. It's kind of bringing the two together. So the HTML, okay, so Selenium effectively is a DLL, which basically is used for testing websites. And the HTMLAgilityPack is basically a DLL that's used in web scraping. Well, it not necessarily. Yeah, it is used in web scrapes, but effectively, what it does, it's a really, really handy DLL because it has a lot of stuff that Selenium doesn't use, that can't use. And what it really does is it transforms Selenium from a test engine into a test platform into an automation platform. With the HTML Agility Pack, there's a lot of advanced features that you can gain from it. So it really basically turns Selenium into makes Selenium on steroids because you can do a lot more stuff with it. The thing is, because the PowerShell module is Selenium, and this add-on is kind of enhancing the module, would it then be technically a prefix with SE? But the thing is, it's not Selenium. It's a different, effectively a different type class. Okay. All right. As long as that's the case, that's cool. All right. So let's just go init SE HTML. Well, init is an internal one, but we don't need to do that. But if it's a public one, we do. Okay. So now we need to refresh the HTML Agility Pack. The easiest way to do that is pass the driver. So we're just going to do that. Driver. Going to be mandatory. Effectively, all we need to do is get rid of that. Update that. And what we need to do here is load the HTML. So what we can do is grab that, paste that, and that will refresh it. That is it. So now it refreshes it. What we can do here is we'll just put an end and we can return the we can just return the HTML Agility Pack like so. Funny because initialize is an approved verb. Yeah, it is. The thing is it's an internal function, so it really kind of is not a commandlet. That's why, and then ultimately I'm just following it. So the next thing we need to do is effectively go and get the HTML Agility Pack. Oops. So let's just do that. So we're going to create a new one. Let's call it, is there a public? Oh, there is. Oh boy. Okay, so that needs to go to the public. That needs to go here too. So let's just go new file. Get SE HTML Agility Pack. PS1 function advanced. Realistically, don't have no nothing. We can just go ahead and return it. Okay, so we can do that. And that will sort that out. So that means that okay, so we can call refresh to update the HTMLAgilityPack. We can just basically tell it to pass the driver. And then we can pass it. We can do things with it. So I think it's time to build. I'll just do a quick build and test. So Selenium build. Oh boy. Can we build it locally? I don't think we can. Actually build anything. I don't think it did. I'm just going to drop a breakpoint here and see if that actually works. Oh yeah, there it is. Our task is down there. Okay, I'm so confused. Oh, hang on a sec. What is task? It's a pipeline. I want to be able to build this locally. I'm gonna have to muck around with this, trying to build it. Ah, that's not fun. I always like the ability to be able to build it locally, because building it in that's what I was like. I'm like, I don't really like having to build it. And honestly, I don't really want to have to write a build for this. I just want to be able to get it to work, see it's working. Oh, what's debug? I'm gonna read me. To load the debugging version, simply load selenium.psd1 at the root of this. Okay, if that's the case, prerequisites. Invoke build module. Okay, so apparently I can just import that. Well, if that's the case, let's give it a go. While it's in there, um, and they're like, is it even working? um, let's just go and see if there's a commandlets there. So let's just try get se HTMLAgilityPack. There is. Okay, so you can see that that's working. Cool. Um, so let's just kind of muck around here for a sec. Um, let's go ahead and go driver equals start se new edge. That doesn't work. It does work, it's just not working properly. Let's just go to google.com. Yeah, that's fine. And now let's just call refresh HTML. Whoops, I need a driver. Oops. Property mandatory. Cannot be found for system management automation commandlet binding attribute. I thought mandatory was... Oh, it's commandlet binding. Yeah. I thought mandatory was fine. Okay. Just unload that. I thought mandatory was perfectly fine. Oh, it's commandlet binding. Whoops. Now I'm just having a mess of memory. Let me just quickly. Rabbit. You don't even need true. It's simplistic. Okay, so let's go ahead and refresh that. Copy path. Import. Import module. Path that. Import module that. Import module that. Third time's a charm. Yeah, I'm just having a big old memory blank at the moment. All right, cool. All right, so that's basically done. So now let's just have a driver. New SE edge. Let's just say 5.5 because is it new? What is new? Yeah, it is. It's new SE fire box driver. What was that? Start. It's not new. Start. Actually, I was going to use MS Edge. MSH. Nope, that's not working. SEU Edge. Jesus is. Okay, so that's done. All right, good. Okay, so now if we refresh, we've got our driver. Let's actually go to something interesting. To Goggle. Let's go new refresh. Let's see, HTMLAgilityPack, driver. Okay, so that's refreshed it. Also returned it. So let's just go HTMLAgilityPack. Now what does it give us? Yep, okay, so we've got the HTMLAgilityPack document now. So this is really, really cool. All right, so that's actually loaded the content into the HTMLAgilityPack. We're kind of starting to fuse the two together now. What we can do is we can go HTMLAgilityPack, document node. Oh, it just crashed. So I probably should validate the driver to make sure that it's not crashed. Because as you can see, it's crashed. How do I know it's crashed? Because the window just closed. Edge is not a really good browser for Selenium. Unfortunately, it just crashes all the time. Yeah, so we need to add okay, so the next thing that we need to do I'm just going to see if I can use Firefox, because Firefox statistically is way more stable than what anything Edge can handle. So if we're in Firefox, we refresh the Agility Pack. You can see here we've got that. Document node. And this is the really cool part about the HTMLAgilityPack, which Selenium just doesn't have, is you can actually retrieve. You can obviously edit it, but the really cool part here is that we can actually look at the children. We can look at the parent. You can remove the information. You can add information. So if we go like child nodes, get the first node, and you can literally just start stepping down stack. You can see here the first element really is a yeah, and you can see there's a next sibling. Like, it's really, really, really cool, and it just really makes it quite powerful. But the really cool thing here is as well is that you can actually do this. So we can go parent node and it'll actually get the parent node up the stack. So you can kind of work and automate in both ways. It makes it really powerful. But now, since we kind of half embedded it, I'm not a fan of it at the moment. I also think refresh SE HTMLAgilityPack. Ultimately, from a design perspective, when we refresh it, you want to be able to return a new object. That's perfectly fine. The thing that I don't want to happen is with the backend components, you don't want to return the updated thing because it's already, like, it doesn't need to. It just needs to make sure that it's been updated. It has no use for it. I could add a parameter here, but I'm not. So what I'm going to do is proxy this. So let's do that. PS1. And I'm just going to call it HTML pack source. All it does, it literally takes the exact same thing. Need to test if the driver's crashed. The best way to do that is there a use driver? What we can do here is just basically say, I'm just going to kind of if the page source, if the we can also write unit tests for these as well. Doesn't really necessarily need to validate if the driver's crash. It just basically needs to null the result. So what we can do here is and then if it's null, we can just basically say And the reason why I want to do it this way is because that then the backend can update it if it needs to, and it doesn't throw errors. We only want to throw errors on the front end, so when we actually want to get the driver information, it's just a little bit cleaner that way. And I believe that if we do it that way as well, it ensures that we're not throwing any errors that don't need to be thrown. So I think, how is it throwing errors? Throw system not implemented exception. Is it not implemented? Let's have a quick look at what the exception types are. Do not use catch. Yeah. Valid operation. Argument null exception. Do throw. If one of the subtypes is bad arguments passed to a member, prefer the most derived exception type. Do not allow publicly callable APIs to explicitly or implicitly throw. Okay. Argument null exception? I've never thrown specific types. That's system not implemented. What we want to do is just go ahead and copy that. Paste that here. Clean that out. I think it's going to be system not implemented. I think it's going to be argument null exception. So let's just have a quick. Value cannot be null parameter test. I think it's a null. What's it gonna be? What exception should it be? Because technically, it's not null, and the thing is, it's mandatory. So that's kind of see what is on the list. Complete list of exception classes. Cool. An exception that is thrown when attempt to dereference a null object reference. Nope. What's it gonna be? Exception. We just do a system not exception. It serves as a base class. Supported. An exception that is thrown when invoked Maybe a non-supported? Valid time zone, valid operation. I'm just going to use it as an invalid operation. So it's going to go system dot valid operation. Let's just go test. Let's see how it looks. Operation stops test. I'm missing source. The HTML driver. Not the best error. Please. I think that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and close that down. And we'll reload this. And we're just going to use Firefox because Edge is just too flaky. So what we can do now, let's go ahead and reload. Okay, driver, start SE, driver, browser Firefox. And then what we're going to do is just jump on the, well, actually, let's firstly just quickly test this. Refresh, HTMLAgilityPack source, driver. That works. Let's go ahead and close it and see what happens. Driver. That worked. Didn't throw any errors. Is that equal to none? Yep. Well, we're just going to have to fix that. Now if I refresh SE HTMLAgilityPack, driver. Oh, you're kidding me now. That works. Okay. It has a page source. I'm going to drop our debugger on here. Let's give that another go. Driver. What? I thought I could debug. I'm just going to rerun that part. Ugh. Where's driver? There's nothing passed into driver. Okay. What is that there? That shouldn't be there. It should be in the private. Ditch all that. Get rid of the driver. So if it was... Gotta make sure I have a breakpoint on that. All right, let's go ahead and reload it. Prior to doing that, null is not equal to driver. Not going. So we can just do that. All right, now we can just go. And what we can say here is if driver, if null is not equal to driver, and start URL, just kind of wrap that parentheses for it's a little bit of easy reading. Go ahead and pass the page to us in the HTMLAgilityPack. Let's go ahead and do that. So we can init. Pass that in. Like so. And that basically will automatically pass the page source into it. making for some automatic goodness. All right, so now we just need to load it. Hopefully it loads. I've obviously got to write unit tests for this. Module. Module. Okay, so now the first thing we need to do is start SE driver, browser Firefox. Now we're just going to go start URL. We're just going to go HTTPS google.com. There we go. So that's started. Interesting, because you can see here started two of them. It's got a friendly name. Okay, so if that's the case, I could actually chuck it on here. I could. Well, let's go ahead and do that. We can say now this should automatically update. And we should have properties within here for the H. Let's call it HTMLAgilityPack document. So let's go ahead and check that. So the way we're going to do that is go ahead and delete that. Copy path. Module. Let's go start the driver. It is. Let's have a look for it. There's page source. I can see nothing in there. If I refresh, well, that's a problem. Yeah, figure out why that's not working. See, the thing is, it's there. You can see it's there. So why is it? Okay, I think we're going to need to restart this. How I'm going to do this. Run that. Import module. I'm just going to refresh that. We've got the driver. So we're going to refresh HTML driver, pass the driver in. Tell me what you have. Okay, nothing there. Run that. It's false. F11. So it's going to load the HTMLAgilityPack current document. See what's here. See, that's not doing anything. That's completely empty. Okay. We're getting rid of that. We're getting rid of the script and we're just going to put it in the driver. So if we do that, that means it'll refresh, update that, change that to be null. So then if we go mandatory, right, so driver, comment that out. So create the HTML, which if it's null, just go ahead and create it there. Don't need that line. And then what we can do here is Let's see if this works. The problem that I'm wondering is if it's going to actually break. That's up parentheses. I think it's going to break because it's not going to update properties because it's embedded in the property itself, which probably means I'm going to need to create methods to be able to automatically refresh it, which is not really what I want to have to do. But we have to, we have to. Public start SE driver. Try that. There we go. Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and create a driver. Start SE driver. I imported the module. That's a problem. I'm not a fan of that. See how we go now. Okay, that works. Unload that. Comment that out, save it, and reload it. Nice name for a band, Automatic Goodness. Thanks, hey. Okay, import it. Okay, I don't know what was going on there. All right, so we've got this driver. Do we actually have content? Yeah, we got content. Do we have a HTMLAgilityPack document? And does it have anything in it? Doesn't have anything in it. Let's refresh it. And now if we have a look at the driver, it's been updated. Wicked. Cool. Okay, that's working. Sweet. So now you can refresh it and then it will just update the driver. Cool. All right, so that means that if the start URL exists, pass the page source into the HTMLAgilityPack. That ain't working. We can get rid of that. I want to be able to see that automatically work. Go ahead, reload everything. Shouldn't have to, the HTMLAgilityPack should automatically load this up. Now, it could be the fact that the driver actually hasn't, has anything. You can see if we go to the document node, there's nothing there. It's completely empty, which is a pain. I'm going to do the old write host. Not the best way to do it, but for the time being, this will work. Do that, get rid of that. All I want to see is if it actually launches. So it started the driver, but it's not start URL. Ah, that's because it's right there. Return switch SE driver. So we need to clean that up, drop that down here, get rid of all that, get rid of that, get rid of that, re-import it, see what happens now. Yeah, import it. There we go. Cool. All right, so that now should have now that should have a HTMLAgilityPack document. Look at that. Cool. We are cooking with gas. All right, sweet. All right, so that means now we've got the HTML document embedded into the module somewhat. I think there's a little bit more stuff we can do. So, for instance, what we can do here is if we can set SE URL and say URL www.mail.google.com HTTPS. That really broke. Let's try that. That works. Cool. All right, so what we can do here is we can update. So it initializes it. It navigates to the URL. As depth. Parameter switch name. Okay, so it's just depth. So once we've done that, we can refresh the HTML agility pack with all the amazing goodness. So now, let's go ahead and reload the module. We should be able to automatically update the HTML agility pack when we browse. So let's go ahead and import, create a driver. We shouldn't even need to specify the driver. Set SE URL, URL, HTTPS, mail.google.com, which is its browsing, so it's just browse to it. So now if we have a look at the HTML agility pack document, is there a URL? Oh, actually no, there won't be a URL. There will be a that's the best place to find it. Document node. So what we need to do is get we can actually just do this. It's the easiest way, I think. But past text. Let's just have a look in here. I think, yep, look at that. Well, hang on. Let's just be 100% sure. What we can do is just do a quick find. Did it update it? Did. I don't think I did update it. Could also be the fact that it's yeah. Let's just do a where object. Like actually, wait, let's just do this. Text like we can just say more ways to connect. Yeah, it's updated it. So what I just did, just search the HTML text for that. Which if it's there, it's there. So I think that's really cool now. So that means that the HTMLAgilityPack is somewhat being updated to an extent. The next thing that we can do, I could set an event, like I could create an event effectively that will periodically poll it and then update it and repass it, which will make it better. But for the time being, I think we can leave that there for today. So what did we do today? So we effectively introduced the DLL into the core module. We don't need that anymore, that can get. We then basically added the class, we introduced it, we added an initialization, a refresh backend so that it basically just refresh the document. We've also added the ability so we can fetch the content, which it's super basic. And then we can also refresh it automatically, which makes it a lot easier. Interestingly, actually, I'm going to do something. I'm going to see what happens if I try and refresh it. So that's the driver. Now if we try and refresh. Perfect. That works. So, and if we try and change the URL, it'll automatically update it. And then we can basically, when we invoke it, if it has an URL initially, it'll actually refresh it there, and then it will return the driver. So it's embedded, not fully functional yet, but it's embedded and it's started. We can then start to build some interesting functionality into it to make it really cool. So all the deletes, I'm just going to just kind of put them back, discard those, and then I'm adding HTMLAgilityPack, embedding AgilityPack into the embedding HTMLAgilityPack into module. Added. So that can start. I'm not going to push yet. I'm just going to leave it there for the time being. But that basically means that we're in a state now where we've got some interesting things happening now. So the next thing that we're going to need to do is write some unit tests. And I don't see any unit tests. Oh, here they are. Selenium PowerShell tests. Script file should be valid PowerShell. Okay. Test cases are splattered to the script, so we need hash table. Where are your test cases? Module root include PS1. Test cases, scripts for each object file, script file. Oh, so it's just testing if it's valid PowerShell. I'm going to write some unit tests for mine because I think that'll be nice. And that'll make them happy. Yeah. Cool. I think, yeah, that's going to leave it for today. Genius, that's my new unit test. Yep. If it's a PowerShell file, that's it. I don't care. That's really it. Is a PowerShell file, needs to exist. Get the content, try and pass it. Does it pass? Yep. I'm thinking, okay. I'm probably going to write some input-output tests. To an extent, I don't necessarily need to, but I'm probably just going to write some tests to make sure that it works to an extent. So I'm going to leave it there for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was actually a really good stream. I actually had learned a lot about PowerShell under the hood with the enums. And yeah, we just tried to sort a lot of these little issues out. And we finally got to a point where we can actually embed the HTMLAgilityPack, which it's been successfully embedded. Yeah, oh jeez, getting me through your own call. No worries, mate, anytime. Just come on every time and that'll be, yep. Come on anytime and I'll be happy to distract you. So, I'll be back next weekend. We're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to be trying to add a lot more of the functionality into the agility, and we're going to start to build out some of that functionality. So a couple of things that we're going to be doing is being able to actually perform object type searching within it and using the HTMLAgilityPack to do that, and also being able to actually do XPath lookups and things like that. So it's Selenium already does that, but it's going to be some other interesting features, and it's mainly just going to be taking advantage of the Selenium's ability to, the HTMLAgilityPack's ability to iterate through objects. So how we're going to do that is going to be interesting. So I'm thinking of what I'm going to probably do is build a query language that allows people to search. You can do, XPath can do this. You can write it in XPath, but basically building a query language that we can use within PowerShell to search for specific things. And then with that, hopefully we can add some extra functionality, raise a PR, and then hopefully get it put in and watch everyone get excited at the fact that now they've got some really cool tools in there to be able to actually make some pretty interesting pieces of automation. So yeah, we'll see how we go with that. But that's going to be one more of the interesting things with Selenium, because then it means it's not just a test tool, it's an automation tool. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to see you next week. Bye.